You look fine.
Good morning, and thank you for attending the 31st Malcolm King Awards celebration. I am Miss Purdy. I will be your mistress of ceremonies for today. In keeping with our theme of pivot, repurpose, and reimagine, we are bringing you the breakfast in a virtual format this year. Unfortunately, you cannot have bacon and eggs today, but we're going to have a good program for you. Last year, we were together 400 strong on campus. This year, because of COVID, we've had to reimagine how we would bring this celebration to you. And because of those reasons and because of COVID, I think that we should have a moment of silence to remember those we've lost and to especially remember the late Cicely Tyson, who was a previous honoree and guest speaker for the breakfast. A moment of silence, please. Thank you.
Lift every voice and sing till earth
and heaven ring, ring with a harmony of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the glistening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing a rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Let us march on till victory is won. Let us march on till victory.
Beautiful, moving song by Alicia Keys. Lift every voice and sing. It is now my pleasure to present Dr. Jessica Gordon Nimhard, former chair of the Africana Studies Department and current chair of the Malcolm King Breakfast Committee. She will be bringing us welcoming remarks and libation.
Good morning, everybody. It's hard not to be moved by that. Excuse me. And I just sat down again because I do always stand for the Black National Anthem. So thank you all for participating in that with us. Welcome, as you heard, welcome to our 31st Malcolm King celebration, our Student Leadership Awards celebration. It's our first virtual program. And you know that we're the longest continuously occurring John Jay event, and proud of it. Last year we were one of the last in-person events held at John Jay before the campus was closed. And of course, we hope to be back in person with a full breakfast next February. The purpose of the Malcolm King program is to affirm the community, renew the spirit, and remember the social justice legacies of Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., and others who have blazed the trail for us. We're here to celebrate our John Jay community, Black History Month, and social justice activism. 31 years ago, the Department of Africana Studies, then called African American Studies, and the Black faculty and staff at John Jay established this celebration to provide leadership awards to activist students and to honor community activists who embody the social justice spirits. Last year at our event, Reverend Sharpton beautifully reminded us of the ways that Reverend Dr. King and Malcolm X fought similar struggles for human rights, anti-racism, community empowerment, and the well-being of all. We can't forget that on the brink of his assassination, Malcolm X was charging racism as a crime against humanity, and both men were creating international coalitions against poverty and anti-Blackness. Later in the program, you're going to meet 7 impressive students who are keeping these legacies alive. This year's theme, Pivot, Repurpose, Reimagine. We have all been required to pivot, purpose, and reimagine this past year. That's partly why I think Alicia Keys' version of Lift Every Voice and Sing is so powerful, especially after all we've been through this past year. I believe it has made us stronger. We know we can survive anything, We come out better at the other end. There are lots of things to keep doing, to keep asserting our human rights, and we need to always be ready to reinvent ourselves. So hopefully you'll find our theme purposeful and uplifting. Our department, Africana Studies, is very proud to sponsor this event every year. We're dedicated to providing a rigorous and relevant Black Studies curriculum to all of John Jay, and we're happy to be here and to make sure that this event continues. I want to thank our new chair, Dr. Teresa Booker, and all the Africana Studies faculty. I also want to thank the Malcolm King Planning Committee, who've made sure we have this program and that it's done so professionally. That's C. Jama Adams, Teresa Booker, Crystal Elmsley, Relisa Galloway Perry, Kim Chandler, Danielle Officer, and Yvonne Purdy. Also, thank you. You'll see in a minute, Tony Keith is our guest presenter for his performance. Thanks to all the volunteers who help out every year, to all the those who have donated so we can continue these financial awards. Thanks to all of you for coming. Thanks to our student awardees. And please thank John Jay's president, Carol Mason, who you'll hear from in 1 minute. Before I close, we usually have a full libations. This year, we wanted to make sure we kept our virtual program short and sweet, so I'm just gonna do a very quick libations. I do have some water and a plant. First, please join me in acknowledging the original stewards of the land. Here in New York City, that means the Lenape people. And now let us remember our ancestors, especially those of African descent. I call on them from the 4 directions, north, south, east, west, to honor this gathering, to bring us their wisdom, and to bring us their support. Ashe. You can say Ashe along with me if you'd like. I'm also going to call out those who have struggled for civil rights, economic and social justice, and human rights to make the world better for us. You can join me in calling out the names of our sheroes and heroes. I'll start with Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., Ella Jo Baker. Keep going, Ashe, Ashe. And also we can call out our own personal ancestors, my mom, Susan Gordon, Rose Glover, Charles White. Ashe, Ashe. Ashe means let it be so. And finally, I do want to call the names of the founding members of Malcolm King event. First, those who are ancestors: George Best, Dr. Sidney Samuel, Dr. W.R. Hendrick Smith, Ashe, and those who are still living: Dr. Jeanette Domingo, Dr. Kwando Kinshasa, Thelma Kwashi, Patricia Signius, Dr. Basil Wilson, and Dr. Robert Witherspoon. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Dr. Gordon Nimhart, for those wonderful welcoming remarks and for the libation. It is now my honored pleasure to bring to you President Carol Mason, President of John Jay College, and someone who is a magnificent supporter of this program. President Mason.
Good morning, and thank you all. I was looking forward to this breakfast, and I'm glad that we are doing it virtually, though we're missing the bacon and eggs and the wonderful food and fellowship. So good morning, and thank you for joining us today for the 31st Malcolm King Leadership Awards ceremony. And I'm so glad again that you all found a way to do this virtually. Everyone at this event knows that this is a longstanding tradition at John Jay, and I think it's our longest continuous program at John Jay. As Dr. Gordon Nimhart mentioned, this is our 31st Malcolm King breakfast, and it is hosted by the Department of Africana Studies, and we are grateful for their leadership for this event. As I mentioned, it's the longest continuous event here at John Jay, and we are so honored that Malcolm X's daughter is one of our faculty members, and she's usually here front and center at this event. So I hope Dr. Shabazz is with us virtually today. Every year at the Malcolm King Student Leadership Awards ceremony, we come together to celebrate African-American history at the culmination of Black History Month. We honor the legacies of Malcolm X and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and we proudly recognize our students' academic excellence and their commitment to public service. And I want to emphasize it's their academic excellence combined with their commitment to public service. Before we continue the festivities, I'd like to, again, as Dr. Gordon Nemhart already did, but I'd like to acknowledge again the founding members of this event. George Best, Dr. Jeanette Domingo, and the publication of her book, Dr. Kwando Kinshasa, Thelma Kwashi, Dr. Sidney Samuel, Patricia Senyus, Dr. W.R. Hendrick Smith, Dr. Basil Wilson, who was also our provost, and Dr. Roger Witherspoon, who was also in leadership here in student affairs at John Jay. I'd like to also thank our current Malcolm King Awards Planning Committee members because they deserve a huge round of applause for keeping this going and not letting a pandemic stop our celebration. So our committee chair is Dr. Gordon Nemhart, Dr. C. Jama Adams, Relisa Galloway Perry, Kenya Chandler, Danielle Officer, and of course, Ms. Purdy, Ms. Yvonne Purdy. And let's give a warm welcome and thanks to our spoken word speaker, Tony Keith Jr. I'm so looking forward to his presentation. Spoken word is one of my favorite things. And next, not last, next, I'd like to recognize our student awardees, honorees. Jonathan Arias, Melissa Sarin, Dawoon Lee, Elvis Martinez, Lisima Mateo de la Cruz, along with our Community Service Award honoring John Jay's Black Student Union President, I've already elevated you to Carlos, President DeCarlos Hines and Vice President Ranisha Singleton. I want to say that the work of the Black Student Union has been core to transforming how this college is responding to this period in time. So this virtual event has appropriately been named Pivot, Repurpose, and Reimagine. And that's what we're all attempting to do during these challenging times, and not just attempting, but we are successfully doing it. As our country struggles with long overdue racial reckoning, and as I mentioned, we at John Jay are being led by our young folks in our reckoning and our pivot. We have to pivot our point of view, repurpose our efforts in a new way, and thoughtfully reimagine a more just world. And as I mentioned, our young folks, as exemplified by what the Black Student Union has challenged us to do, they are calling us to live up to to what we tell them we are, and to live into the things that we say we are as a country and as a college. So by following in the footsteps of civil rights giants like Malcolm X, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Congressman John Lewis, who would have celebrated his 81st birthday just a few days ago, Congresswoman Shirley Chisholm, we can uplift underserved and underrepresented communities of color. And I want to make sure that we recognize the power of our communities. We are often using words that talk about what we have to overcome, but we have thrived, and we continue to just celebrate the many things we do in spite of the hurdles and obstacles that people try to use to stifle our progress. We excel. By expanding on the trail that they blazed, we become part of the solution in our continued quest for racial equity, diversity, and inclusion. And seeing the essays and the artwork and the songs and poems of our Malcolm King student awardees, and that we will see shortly, I know that we are in such good hands. I have confidence in knowing that our country's future is assured to be brighter because of your leadership, their talent, their intelligence, their scholarship, their creativity, and their commitment and passion for public service and making this world live up to its creed give me not just hope, they give me excitement. So before I turn the event over to Professor Crystal Ensley, I'd like to remind everyone to continue to support the Malcolm King Awards in any way that you can. And we're going to go to church today. So we cannot physically pass the plate, but we are going to pass the plate, and we don't want virtual contributions. We want real contributions to support our students and support this work. And we also need your rolling up your sleeves and your commitment to this work and helping with this event. So that I look forward to next year again, being in person and having bacon and eggs. But more importantly, when you see the students we're going to celebrate today, that's what makes us smile, and that's what makes us celebrate. So now, turning it over to Professor Ensley. Congratulations, everybody, and thank you for letting me be part of this celebration again.
Actually, it comes over to me, and I would throw it to Professor Ensley. But that's fine. Thank you, President Mason, for your support and your encouragement. And I do want to mention, now is a good time to mention to everyone that we are going to put the donation link on the chat so that you can make your donations if you haven't already made them. So thank you very much. Next is Dr. Crystal Ensley, who is a faculty member in the Africana Studies Department and who has been so gracious to assist us this year with coming up with this unique idea for how to present our program today. She will introduce the video of our guest speaker, Dr. Anthony Keith. Dr. Crystal Ensley.
Thank you so much, Ms. Purdy. I'm so proud to introduce our guest speaker for this year. Dr. Anthony Keith Jr. is not only an internationally acclaimed spoken word artist, he is also an award-winning scholar. After nearly a decade working in higher education, the nonprofit community sector, and in cultural programming, Dr. Keith founded EdMCs, where he continues to advocate and educate for the liberation of Black and Brown youth through hip hop and spoken word poetry. Dr. Keith has some inspirational words to share with us as we commemorate the legacies of Dr. King and Malcolm X.
Peace. What's up, John Jay? I'm Dr. Tony Keith Jr. I'm glad to be here with you, at least virtually. Excited to share this poem. It's inspired very much by the stories that I've been told and that I continue to learn about the life and the legacy of civil rights leaders like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X and their different approaches to leadership, but also how I firmly believe that they had an understanding that there was a possibility of a world where Black people were actually free, right? Like they had a dream. There was something possible that they were in pursuit of, and they knew that they had a role to play, right, in creating that pathway, right? And so when it comes to issues of racial justice and civil rights, and especially during moments like Black Lives Matter, and within the context of COVID-19, where we're forced to be socially distant, and the recent coup of the US Capitol and the incoming administration post-Trump, like there's just a lot that we've been dealing with in terms of the same kinds of conditions that were also the same kind of conditions that folks like Malcolm X and Dr. King were also living through and fighting through. And so this poem is for you. I need you to know that you are amazing people and you're meant to be here for a reason, that you have a voice and a place in this fight, right? And so what I'd like you to do, if you just entertain me for a second, is take your hand, put your hand in front of you like this, say, hey, hand, like look at it, say, hey, hand. Right? Turn it and face you. It's like, that's a pretty hand. Say, pretty hand. Take that hand. I want you to pat yourself on the back and say, yo, good job, me. Say, I'm proud of myself. Say, I've made it. I'm good. I'm worthy. I deserve to be here, right? Take that same hand and virtually give somebody else a pat on the back, right? Think of somebody else that you know who probably needs to hear that same thing and give them a pat. Say, yo, proud of you. Say, you've made it. Like, I'm glad you're here. Like, you are an amazing person. You're awesome, right? This poem is for those of us who just sometimes need those reminders, not only that we're brilliant and that we're amazing, but we also have a reason to be here. And so you all should know that you have a reason to be here in this moment right now, just like Dr. King and Malcolm X. And so poem goes like this. We fear what we love. Being awesome is a monster trapped inside of closets that watches us sleep, that steals our dreams in the dark. And when we awake, we forget how amazing we could be if we only turned the lights on. If we just pulled the cover from over our eyes, placed our feet on the ground, and boldly proclaimed that we are not afraid of greatness. That no matter how many nights we shiver, scared of our own success, we will at some point get a full night's rest and we will rise with the sun. And like the sun, we will be bright and blinding and bold and hot and huge, and people will need us to survive the cold and the night. And we will awaken, y'all, as warriors of weary, as soldiers of failure, as griots of fate, armed with weapons of mass construction. We will build ourselves a fortress of power, protecting ourselves from hating to be loved, and our capacity to be godlike, and our right to be present, and our calling to be parents to offsprings of our victories, and ancestors to heartbreak and loneliness and empty pockets and grumbling bellies and confusion. And we will no longer hold our pillows too tight at night, wishing it were a warm body or a healthy diagnosis, or a phone call from daddy, or a note that says, I love you from the person you actually want to love you. And we will awaken with muscles upon our shoulders that are strong enough to hold the world up when people need us to hold the world up because they are tired of holding the world up. And we will awaken with our voices in harmony and pitch that makes a whisper seem like a rocket ship, and a rocket ship sound like, yo, I miss you. And we will tiptoe down hallways, making footprints feel like earthquakes, and we will awaken. All those sleeping, all those afraid to be brilliant, all of you afraid to be acknowledged for daring to be different. For those of you who run when you should stand. For those of you who hush when you should command. For those who need to realize you can't hide in the light. It sticks to you like brown does on this black skin, like sap from trees rooted in sweet soil. I need everybody viewing to see that you're stars. Literally, I see you in the sky, defying laws of space, time, and gravity, because humans are not supposed to fly, but you glide like the first leaves in autumn. Your silhouette strut in daylight and they dance with the moon. You are part of a collective, a critical mass of intellectuals governed by divine knowledge, which means you are meant to be here with a purpose. Just like I am meant to be here with a purpose, we are purposefully meant to be here so that the sick can become a healer, so that the timid can become a leader, so that the weary can become a teacher, and so that the boogeyman, who used to be afraid of his black, brilliant self, became a poet. Thank you all. Take care of yourselves. Peace. Peace.
Oh, I got so moved by that I forgot to turn my mic on. Oh, let's turn the lights on and dare to be different. This was just exactly what we needed to hear. And if Dr. Keith is in listening distance, I want him to know that we feel it, we hear it. We're going to give each other right now. Let's do that again. Let's pat each other on the back one more time. Woo. And pat our friends on the back, our neighbors. President Mason, I'm patting you on the back right now. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, all right now, I got to stay on tack. They gave me a script, so let me get back to it. Next, Dr. Jessica Gordon-Nimhard is going to bring you the most exciting portion of our program today. She is going to be introducing our award winners. And as you probably heard, this year we did something a little different. We don't just have essay winners this year. We have some fantastic spoken word. We have a song. We have a marvelous picture that was painted, and I was trying to figure out how I could get that for my house. So we need to talk. Oh, it's nice. So we have something different to share with you. We're excited. The students are excited, and we're very happy that they're here to present today. So Dr. Jessica Gordon-Nimhard.
Thank you, Ms. Purdy. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce the Malcolm King Leadership Award winners for 2021. As you know, we decided to focus this virtual event on student achievements this year, and we expanded the award categories to include creative submissions, along with our usual call for essays from undergrads and graduate students. Each winner represented their commitment to public service and social activism and demonstrated their commitment, and demonstrated an understanding of the work of Malcolm X and Dr. King and those legacies. To be eligible, each student winner had to have completed at least one course related to race and ethnicity and had to maintain good academic standing. As President Mason already mentioned, right, we're talking about scholars who are also creative, who are also activists and leaders. I have to thank the Student Award Selection Committee. That would be C. Jama Adams, Crystal Elmsley, Teresa Booker, and Henry Smart. Thank you all so much for helping us with this. And each award winner receives $500. That's where your donations go to, so that our students can actually get a financial reward. So you will be enthralled by these students. I have brought to tears every time I look at their submissions. So enjoy. I'm going to introduce each student individually, and they'll share a few words about their submission. So first, our first winner, this is alphabetical order, is Jonathan Arias, political science major. He was selected for his song submission. We can't play the music track, unfortunately, but he's going to perform his song a cappella. So please help me welcome Jonathan.
Okay, thank you for an amazing introduction. My name is Jonathan, and for my piece, I wrote a song titled Free. First, I'd like to thank the committee and everyone involved for letting me be a part of something extraordinary. It means a lot to not only be able to share my verse, but to also touch upon a topic that's dear to me. See, the verse is less than a minute, but it touches upon issues that minorities have faced for centuries. For example, police brutality, the system of policing, redlining, prison to school pipeline, and the list goes on. So my biggest inspiration for writing this verse is my favorite album of all time, To Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick Lamar. See, my verse isn't as sophisticated as any of his, but I hope to bring to light the struggles minorities face, specifically African Americans, just like Kendrick did. So with that being said, here's my piece titled Free. See, my birthday closing in, but they don't feel right. Used to play with toys, but unlike the life of Tamir Rice, I'm getting past his white. But in other words, a chance of life without the fear of having to be killed while I walk at night. See, the cops are just a part of what the system is. People call them pigs because they care just what your pigment is. The stigma is redundant. Using prisons keeps the system running. So they hate to make reform, knowing that the money plummet. The money coming from private prisons, but prisons private, focusing on blacks and Hispanics to keep the people silent. So they redline. Negative or headlines putting knees on top of necks, afraid the next man. Head high, can I breathe? Can I leave from a world that only ever loves to bring hate? Thinking a black square and a hashtag, a clean slate. Letting you bring plates to cook us, but refuse to get the hood out of poverty. Posting to get some views, not equality. You ever get to wonder why funds in schools never properly distributed? Property taxes are often limited. School and pipe to prison, disguises the need of discipline, prohibiting potential. Afraid to see successful men of color, but they see as others almost like they Stevie Wonder. But see, I wonder if we really change, because we're reposting every picture but the frame the same. Thank you for listening and letting me be able to share my thoughts. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. That was really powerful. We really, really thank you. Our next winner, Melissa Sarin. She's a McNair Scholar. Among her other achievements, she sent in a compelling visual art that's just inspirational and quite original. So please join me in welcoming Melissa. I think we'll be able to show her art. Yes, there it is. And Melissa, go ahead.
Good morning, all. It is such an honor to be here today at the 2021 Malcolm King Breakfast Celebration. I would first like to acknowledge and say thank you to the Africana Studies Department, as well as the Martin Luther King Malcolm X Committee, for choosing my artwork to showcase this year, and for allowing me to express my advocacy through creative expression. The title of my piece is Diversify with Art. The goal of my work is to show that visual arts as a mode of self-expression can have a huge impact on not just an individual level, but a social and political level as well. The inspiration for my artwork came from the Black Lives Matter movement, as well as the Black American culture. I would want to pay homage to the legacies of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X, and honor the successes of the Black community in America. On a personal level, the recognition of creative expression in academic spaces helps solidify the importance of artistry within academia. for the Malcolm King Committee to allow and recognize a variety of creative submissions tells us as scholars and future academic creators that art is fundamental to the change we wish to see in society. I would once again like to thank the Malcolm King Committee for giving me the opportunity to participate and present my artwork. I would also like to thank the Ronald E. McNair directors, as well as shout out to my cohort, I love you guys, who are mainly strong women of color that continue to support my artwork and are such amazing individuals. I would also like to thank my mentors, particularly Dr. Charles B. Stone from the psychology department, as well as those who continue to create opportunities for marginalized students in higher education and in the John Jay community. As an aspiring social psychologist, I hope my artwork inspires others to utilize creative expression more within their lives, whether it be for personal growth or to represent the work they do to help build a better future for the generations to come. Thank you so much, and I hope you and your loved ones stay safe and healthy. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Melissa. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You can see why Miss Purdy wants us to post this
Thanks.
in her house.
Thank you so much.
Our next winner is Dawoon Lee. As our graduate student, she submitted a compelling written essay. Please help me to welcome Dawoon now.
Hello, my name is Dawoon Lee. I would like to thank you for awarding me Malcolm King Leadership Award. I'm truly honored to accept this award. I came to US 6 years ago from South Korea to study forensic psychology and the criminal justice system. Before I transferred, I thought the racism was largely eradicated in the US and expected to learn about advanced justice system. However, many criminal justice classes focus on discriminations against the people of color because to this day, many studies show us how the US still treated people of color as a second-class citizen. To overcome this challenge, my essay suggests we need to impose radical and moderated strategy to fix problem timely. To alter public attention, we need to use Martin Luther King's strategy. The way he protested to lead political change were sitting, boycotting, and marching without violence. The key point of his work is that King brought massive public attention in a peaceful way. Some issues will take a longer time to be addressed and fixed. We need to establish strong organization to focus on them, like Malcolm X did. We need to consider that people who have been neglected in society need to additional resources such as legal assistance, community center, and skill class. I hope my suggestion help people of color connect by understanding the root cause of a problem and then cultivating plan of actions to prepare them for the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Those were great words, Dawoon. And we appreciate your essay.
Thank you.
The next essay winner is Elvis Martinez, a Pinkerton Fellow and Senior at John Jay. Please join me in welcoming Elvis.
So good morning. My name is Elvis Martinez, and I am a 2021 Pinkerton Fellow and first generation college student. First and foremost, I want to thank you for having me and giving me this opportunity. It is an honor to be awarded the Malcolm King Award. Words cannot describe the excitement and appreciation I have. I would like to share a small excerpt from the essay I wrote relating towards a prison industrial complex that has negatively impacted our society, especially the African American community. People revolve around in our criminal justice system because of the harsh and punitive policies our lawmakers have placed over the decades. Over 2 million people are currently incarcerated, and over 6 million people are supervised by the criminal justice system. These numbers can make the population of a small country. Just imagine excluding a large amount of the population just for being labeled a felon, unable to find a job, vote, apply for legal assistance just because of criminal record that allows legal discriminations. Prisons should not have a place in our society because it is inhumane to have people confined. What we should do is stand up like what Malcolm X and Dr. King did during the civil rights movement and advocate to revolutionize a change. First, we need to tackle and dismantle our prisons by redistributing all the money invested in our prisons and into the communities to prevent from future generations in entering our unjust system. In addition, we need to also tackle the problem of inequality that capitalism has produced and create a social system that is for the people and not for the rich capitalists. We need a system where all people of color are treated with equity and respect in our society. I am proud to share this excerpt from my essay, and thank you.
Thank you so much for those inspiring words, Elvis.
Thank you.
Yeah, very important.
Thank you.
Our final winner, though of course not least, is Lisa Mal Mateo de la Cruz, a Human Services and Community Justice major, and she has powerful poetry to share with us that earned her this award. Welcome, Liz Mal.
Hello, everyone. My name is Liz Samel. I am a senior majoring in Human Services and Community Justice here at John Jay and part of the Macaulay Honors Program. It is a huge honor for me to be a recipient of this award. And without further ado, I will read out my poem titled Until Then. Crisscrossed are the slashes on my back. There lays the path that people cross to get their rights back. The smell of death in the air, bittersweet. The words of peace and justice to which we march and weep. On the crisscross paths carried through generations that have passed, I learned to read what is not written. Teach refugees to reach their ambitions. Speak my native tongue to those who listen. Fight for the abolition of minorities in prison. Advocate for Blacks and Latinos and their health. That our zip code shouldn't determine our wealth. Tutor the youth about their history, even though the future is a mystery. Oh, how sweet would it be to take off the mask, to unbuckle our chains, to be free at last, to not be afraid of the white shadows that lurk in the dark, to be equal and to live in harmony, to sleep and be able to wake up. But there are crisscross slashes on our backs. There are knees on our necks and chains surround all that is Black, weighing us down, the white shadows that silently attack. We submit ballots, but get bullets. We have dreams, but live in nightmares. When they go low, said Michelle, we must go high. But no matter where we go, we must remain in the skies. From Selma to Montgomery, from the Constitution to the Capitol, from the borders of this land, the closed borders of their minds. Slavery is over, the white shadows whisper, as the bars close in front of our brothers and sisters. From the systematic inequality that holds us back, they've redlined our democracy like the stripes on our backs. True freedom is a vision that I see, but until then, I'll repeat his words. I have a dream. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thanks for that poem, Lisa Mal. I hope you all see why we had to give these students this award, why, President Mason says they are our future, right? You guys, I do feel hopeful with you guys in our future. So thank you so much. Let's congratulate all of our student leadership recipients for 2021. And I do want a special thanks to Dr. Crystal Elmsley because she helped to prepare them to give these great 2 minutes. They only had 2 minutes, and you see how well she prepared them for these presentations. Ms. Purdy, I think you have something for a second.
I just wanted to give a pat on the back. I want us to give the students a pat on the back. I've stolen this from Dr. Anthony Keith. This is going to be my new mantra. Let's give each of these students a pat on the back. They deserve it. They've just done so wonderfully well. I could listen to you all day, but we don't have all day, but this is really, really great. So next, Dr. Jessica Gordon-Nimhard is going to present our very first Community Service Awards. We are so excited about this new award, and the recipients for this year have done such great, phenomenal work on campus that we just could not let the year go by without recognizing them. The Black Student Union, the president of the Black Student Union, DeCarlos Hines, and the vice president, Ronisha Singleton. Dr. Jessica Gordon-Nimhard is going to present them with their Community Service Award, the very first one.
Yeah, so as Ms. Purdy said, we couldn't help this year, but make sure to honor community service and leadership in community service. And we decided it needed to be the student organization, Black Student Organization, John Jay's BSU, Black Student Organization, and their two main leaders. So we are presenting them with a certificate, community service and leadership from the Malcolm King Committee. We want to honor the Black Student Union for exemplary community service. BSU President DeCarlos Hines and Vice President Ronisha Singleton for exemplary leadership in community service. DeCarlos and Ronisha each have their 2 minutes, but I first just want to congratulate all the members of John Jay's Black Student Union for their courage and persistence in expecting this college and campus to live up to our mission to educate fierce advocates for justice and for demanding a rethinking of and a recommitment to creating a campus that exemplifies racial justice and racial equity in its curriculum and pedagogy, in our hiring and retention, and our admissions and student support. The BSU, especially DeCarlos and Ronisha, did their homework, built coalitions, worked with all stakeholders on campus to make John Jay better and stronger, and they have not yet stopped. Thank you to the Black Student Union. Thank you to DeCarlos Hines. Thank you, Ronisha Singleton. Now I'll introduce DeCarlos Hines to speak for a second, for his 2 minutes. Forensic psychology major, member of John Jay's Honors Program, and president of BSU. Congratulations, DeCarlos.
Thank you so much. It is my honor to accept this award. Thank you to the Malcolm King Planning Committee for thinking of us. We did not set out on this journey to be recognized. Our agenda this year had nothing to do with the curriculum. But then George Floyd was murdered, and it caused us to reevaluate everything. We knew that being silent was not an option. It had to be our voices that sparked this movement of curriculum change. Like Malcolm and King, we understood the urgency of the moment, the power of the Black voice, and the resilient spirit of Black determination. If anyone out there still doubts student voices matter, who still wonders if change can truly happen from the bottom up, who still questions the power of our voice, this award is proof that your voice does matter. The Academy is a highly functioning institution that often perpetuates white supremacy, yet it allows for innovative thought and life-changing research across all human endeavors. It can at times be discriminatory, unforgiving, and highly bureaucratic, but with all of its defects, I have found a unified goal of its students. It is a goal found in Malcolm and King's philosophies, which are passion, love, and the fight to make all things right by any means necessary. Our fight to hold this college accountable is far from over. We won't stop until change vibrates in every classroom, on every syllabus, and in the consciousness of every professor. The Academy is not static, unmovable, nor impenetrable, yet it is moving, breathing, divine. Furthermore, it can be the changing force of changing times if we are brave enough to allow it. And as our theme states, I challenge those in power to pivot from a white supremacist curricula by repurposing how we see higher education through reimagining a well-rounded syllabus that includes not only white scholars, but also scholars of every race, gender, sexual orientation, and class. Thank you again.
Thank you, DeCarlos. We really, really appreciate those words and all your energy and commitment. I want to introduce now Renisha Singleton, a pre-law student majoring in philosophy, minoring in Africana studies, and vice president of the BSU. Congratulations, Renisha.
Hi, everyone. So give me 1 second. It is a great honor to receive this award. Before proceeding, I would like to thank the Malcolm King Leadership Committee for choosing me and believing in my efforts. The Malcolm King Community Leadership Award is personal for me. The work I did and continue to do is hard and new, but not impossible. I chose this path expecting only to widen the platform for students to speak freely of their issues and concerns. Then the murder of George Floyd happened, and I knew I needed to be a part of a solution, whatever it could have been. Before I knew it, I was a part of this mission to change the curriculum while speaking truth to power, pushing for better, just as Dr. King and Malcolm X did, better resources, and making the best use with what little we had, which I like to think is the great talent of being Black. I was never one for popularity or being liked. My hopes were only to make my corner of the world a better place. Doing work like this shook the foundation and made people uncomfortable, even me. But I learned that change can be about discomfort. Dr. King and Malcolm X are glorified for everything they did, and rightfully so. But they were also hated because they were serious about fundamental change, and they made people feel uncomfortable. I take pride in experiencing just a taste of that feeling. Their work is not in vain. It made it possible for me to be here in front of you all, virtually, of course. Dr. King always envisioned and dreamed of this world being equal, but that could never be achieved without equity. Through this journey, there was a shift in my thinking, a repurposing, where I no longer want to advocate for equality. I stand for equity, for filling in the gaps, bridging the way for my successors to have a more stable ground to walk on, to achieve higher than what I think to be imaginable. I want students to be confident that they are getting the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, not a whitewashed biased one. I have found a voice for students even when I struggle to speak up for myself. This work is far from easy, far from done, but I'm grateful for the process, for the molding, for the shaping of who I want to be and how I want to live as a Black woman in this world. It is truly a pleasure. Thank you all.
Oh, thank you so much, Renisha. Everybody, you see how brilliant our students are. It's just incredible. So proud. Can we give one more hand to all the student honorees and thank them for inspiring us? Back to Miss Purdy.
Thank you to everyone. We've pretty much come to the end of our program. We've kept it within the hour as we promised. I want to make sure I say thank you to a couple of people that weren't mentioned. Elisa Hollywood, Key Gupton, Jason Chandler. We would not have been able to do this without those three young people. We want to thank them so much. We want to thank the students really for submitting applications. So many students didn't. We had to kind of beg folks to submit applications. So we want to thank you for doing it. It was really great. And we want to thank BSU for all the hard work and for helping us to pivot, repurpose, and reimagine. Want everybody know we're going to get together next year. I don't know what shape, format. Hopefully we can be together to fellowship back at the campus, but if not, we will be online. I also want to remind everybody to please donate. You can see from the presentations today that your funds are going towards a worthy cause to assist these students. We are going to email the link for donations. My understanding is that the chat is down. So we are going to email the link to you so that you can donate. And again, thank you for being here today. This was just one of the programs that we've done. Thank you very much. And have a good day, everyone. Bye-bye.
And I rise up, I rise like the day. I rise up, I rise unafraid. I rise up, and I do it 1,008 times again. And I rise up, I like the waves. I rise up, in spite of the ache. I rise up, and I do it 1,008 times again.
Carol, you can speak.
So good. You guys were amazing. This is a fabulous, fabulous program and celebration, and our students, you all are fabulous. Thank you. And the team, I'm sitting here sending you typing a thank you note, but I wanted you to hear this was an amazing, amazing program. Every year gets better. This is my favorite. So thank you.
Thanks so much for your support. We really appreciate that too.